Stuart, Texas. Coach David Dixon. We're going to talking about breaking down cover two and some of its many different variants of cover two. You have a lot of different things with cover two, a lot of different coverages that a lot of coaches do not teach their quarterbacks or their wide receivers too, how to read them coverages. Because if you get a good tandem where you have a wide receiver and a quarterback understanding coverages and how to read them coverages, when they see them going into man-to-man or going into a split coverage, they know exactly where to go. Even though a play has been called a pass route, they know how to defeat that pass route. They understand that there's kill shots in every coverage, that you have to have special defensive backs to be able to get into them kill shots and cover that. But if you don't have a superhero defensive back, you probably can beat them coverages. All right, let's get into this. All right. We teach you how to read coverage and understand how they work with the defensive fronts of defensive. There are four main coverages that is played mostly by youth teams. When I say youth, I'm talking about AU type of excuse me, middle school, high school. Most young quarterbacks, they don't understand how to even start to read even a little of the coverages because they ain't taught. The coaches ain't really teaching them how to do it. Young quarterbacks don't even know the difference in defensive front and defenses between a 5-2, a 3-4, a 5-3-4, a 3-3-5, a 4-5-3. You know, a lot of the coaches only see the kids as good athletes or decent passers who mostly have strong arms and can throw deep. What the young quarterback is that he becomes a good as a high school quarterback and is recruited in major universities as an athlete, excuse me, not as a quarterback, because they know only to throw the ball deep and wasn't taught anything about defensive coverages. The coaches just rely on the kid's ability to run and make some things happen. Now, you look at the breakdown of a basic cover two. You look at the safeties. This is called middle of the field, open or close. The two safeties are spread apart, so the middle of the field is open. Depth of the safeties. Safeties about 12, 13 yards off the line of scrimmage. Depth of the leverage of the cornerbacks. Cornerbacks is playing to the outside, about a yard over to the outside, and on each side. And they're doing that for a reason, because they want to funnel your receivers in here to the middle. They don't want him to go to the outside because they don't have the help to the outside. Okay? And you look at your linebackers. He has a curl, a hook, anything, a hook in here or a curl in here. He has any type of hook coming back toward the middle. He has a hook and a curl. He has the flats. Cornerbacks has the flats. Safety got over top. Okay, they're gonna be in a bail position. Sometimes he's gonna be in a bail position, and sometimes they will, and sometimes they can be either up on your man playing a press cover two. Two deep seams. The nature of cover two is that there are only two defenders deep to cover the deep zones. Naturally, there is a chance to exploit this with a vertical passing game. It is worth noting that all cover two teams will play their safeties around the same way. With the width of the depth of the safeties is something to be studied as you prepare to play your cover two defense and the team you playing. Now they can go into something like a Tampa two. A Tampa two, and a cover two has almost become synonymous with Tampa two these days, but not entirely. Tampa 2 coverage has the Mike linebacker, the middle linebacker. He shoots into deep into the middle, of the defense. That will have their strong or weak sideline linebacker carried to the slot receivers or the tight end. Okay? Why is this important? Because we are looking to exploit the two deep seams. And the defense is going to offset this by assigning an underneath defender to cover our slot receivers as they travel to the deep halves within the defense. Does this? We are looking for ways to attack that area where the linebackers are at. Pre-snap and know your enemy. Pre-snap and post-snap read. Pre-snap means before the ball is hiked. As a offensive coordinator and a quarterback, you are the offensive side of the ball. You should be looking at the depth and leverage inside the number twos, usually the middle of the field open, outside number two, and usually the middle of the field closed. You should be also looking at the eyes and the stats of the safeties and cornerbacks and linebackers based on the information relatively to the secondary rotation. Blitz threat. Who is in position to blitz you? That's what you have to understand. Who, as you're looking at this, who look like they're getting ready to get in a blitz stance to blitz me. Now, that don't mean that they're going to blitz you, but they are setting up that way. Because remember, I told you this is all a show. You're not going to know until the post-snap. This is the pre-snap. This is to give you an idea of what they're playing just by looking at them. And most of these DCs are going to try to trick you. Post-snap principles and ideas. It's much more difficult to reading than a pre-snap disguise, but there are still things that can be done. It can make it difficult to discern from man to zone coverage. It can make it difficult to discern from the middle of the field open and the middle of the field closed. It can show the same pressure, different coverages. It can show the same coverage with different, but send different pressures. It can show the same and similar pressures and different tags. It can have almost the same rotation, different but playing a different coverage. And it can be simulated pressure and change a response. Now look at that. That's a cover two again. And we look at that. There's many variations of this cover two. As a wide receiver, this cornerback is playing out. Remember, he has the flats. The two safeties have over top. Middle of the field here is open unless they run this linebacker back deep into the middle of the field. Then it becomes a Tampa 2. Now, and they can do other things in here. They can set up and become man-to-man. He can be playing him man. He could be playing this guy man. He could be playing this guy man. He could be playing him man. This linebacker could be playing him man. His other linebacker could be playing him man. So that would be a cover two man. Because they can do that. You can have cover two man lined up here. And also, we'll go over it in another video where you could have quarters, half. Playing a split coverage. On this side, they could be playing you cover two. On this side, they could be playing quarters. Quarters mean they going deep. He got 1/4 for the field from here all over. He got 1/4 for the field from here all over. But these people are playing cover two. Cover 2 on this side, quarters on this side. Quarters, cover 2. Okay? Cover 2 man and 2 man under, 2 deep. The coverage is a man-to-man with the help over the top of the 2 deep zones. This coverage allows the defender to bracket or double the number 2 receivers. Pre-snap read is based on the alignment of the corners of the wide receivers. If the safeties give a 2 deep look, safeties near the hash mark align deeper than the corners, and both corners are up tight or looking primarily at the receivers instead of the quarterback. Then man under coverage is confirmed. The safeties are primary keys, as they will usually be head up or shaded to the outside of the wide receivers. Also, the undercover linebackers will be head up or at least the position to cover their man. Motion will force the undercover to adjust or run with the receivers. That's sending somebody in motion. That's why you can tell if they're man-to-man. Because if somebody follows him all the way across, then you're probably in man. The strength of this, it can double bracket 2 receivers, 4-man rush. Every potential receiver is accounted for. Okay, and the cover can be bump and run because each defender has help over the top. Excellent versus the zone type of routes or screens. The weakness is poor run support, mismatch with the backs versus linebacker. Hard to disguise versus the motion. Three deep zones are not covered. One of the underneath crossing routes and bunch and snug types are set. How to attack it. Back routes on the linebackers, creating a mismatch with the tight end running options, and to stay shallow with the wide receivers and tight ends, going in motion. I'm going to go fast enough. Okay, what the concept is going to be today is going to be reading the coverages. Not going to go over all of them, just going to take a few right quick. All right? Now, as a quarterback, you have to process what you're doing. You cannot just go out on that field and be great with footwork throwing the ball, but you can't read your coverage, especially in the high school level where it should start, and college level, you forget about it. They're talking about pro. You can forget about that already. You know, you're going to forget about it in most colleges and good high schools. You know, they'll just take you because you're a super athlete and you'll just have special plays, but they want a kid in there who can look at that cornerback and tell almost what he's going to do. They want to coach out on that field. That coach want to coach out on that field. Really, that's what he want, to make his job easier. Okay, so let's get into this. All right, what I got drawn up right here, standard 2x2 offense. Okay, one tailback in the back, halfback. Out here, a flanker, slot, wide receiver, X, Y, Z, slot, whatever you want to call them, right? Now, you're coming against what you call a shell. A shell is when they're presenting something to you. You really don't know what it is, but you have a concept, and that's called a pre-snap read. You pre-snap reading this shell. The shell looks like a cover 2 or maybe quarters. Okay, that's what it looks like. You understand? That's what it looks like. That don't mean what it is. All right. Now, just say you have 2 outside linebackers. They playing to the inside of your slots. To the insides, okay? So that should tell you something. Okay? And look at the safeties. The middle of the field is open. So that kind of should be telling you something also. The cornerbacks are playing
to the outside of your receivers. Okay? You're in the middle of the field. So that should be telling you something. So let's take it from the top. Okay, the two safeties in the middle of the field is open. This is open. There's nobody in the middle of that field. So that's considered open, all right? There's nobody there. So that's open. All right? Now look. So then you go down here to the cornerback. You look at the depth, leverage, depth. How far are they from your man? How far are you from your man? Leverage. Are they playing inside or to the outside? Okay? They're both playing to the outside. So that should be telling you something. Right there, that should be telling you they're trying to funnel me into the inside. They want me to go into the inside, especially if their hips are toward their sideline or if they're even in the back pedal. Okay? You look at their heads. Here we go. Head looking in at the quarterback or looking at the receivers. All right? Same thing with these two outside linebackers. They bringing them down because they want to take away probably your slant or they want to fit them into the run. They want to be able to get them linebackers here to fill that hole or right out here. Okay? They want him to come down in here or fill here. All right, middle linebacker. Middle linebacker is playing the middle of that field. Now, let's look at this. Let's run something like a curl spot flat. Let's take a look at a curl spot flat, okay? He runs a curl, hook the curl. So he runs a spot. He's spotting up in here. He comes out, hitting the flats. Okay, now when you see that, just say on that place right there, you can best believe this linebacker is probably going to push out. He's going to see this, and he's going to push out. He's going to not let this person cross his face. If he comes in here, he's not going to let him come. He's going to interfere with him, and he's going to stay on this seam route right here unless this tailback shoots out of the backfield. If he shoots out of the backfield, if he comes up into that flat, his cornerback is going back. Okay? And if he goes back, this safety is probably going to he's going to probably try to intercept here, a double team this wide receiver. Cornerback going to stay on top and he's going to come up underneath him. Okay? So that guy right there is going to rob the curl. And if you try to run a post, cornerback still on top, he's going to double team you underneath, and he's going to try to rob the post. So this guy here is what we call, he's playing a robber, because he's going to try to rob the post and the curl. And most quarterbacks is not going to see him. They'll throw the ball right out there. Okay? Now, so they're playing a traditional quarters coverage. He's getting back. He's getting back. He's coming up. Everything underneath to the side. Quarters. You can tell by the way they was moving. Okay. Now, usually I wouldn't start off playing no quarters, but that seems to be the going thing nowadays with these high school quarterbacks and high school coaches. They love quarters for some reason. They love quarters. All right. All right. So now, same thing. We come out there and we look at that shell. We look at that shell. The next thing we're going to look at is middle of the field, open or close. Open. Depth and leverage of the cornerbacks. About 7 to 5 yards off. Head is looking in. Head is looking directly at the wide receivers. He's looking in. He's looking in. He's looking in. He's looking in that backfield. Okay? They're looking in. No matter how far back they're playing, they're looking dead at the person in front of them. Okay? And then that would probably tell you they're in man-to-man, just by the way they're looking. Okay? Just because they back on your pre-snap read, pre-snap you say, oh, it looks like a quarters or a cover.